What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Crypto Brew Show Distilled Thoughts episode. Angela, I see you out there. How you doing?
Living the dream, but I upgraded to not a distilled drink.
Hey, who's to say there's not a distilled spirit in there?
All right, okay, it's whiskey. But I put lemonade in it, so fruits and vegetables, boys and girls.
Fair enough, fair enough. Joey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, Charlie. Hope you're doing well as well. I am drinking one of my favorites, the Hugie Street IPA. It's a recurring beer for me.
Were you not drinking that on the earlier episode this week?
I was, but I drink it all the time, Charlie. It's a local beer. Local breweries are great here on the East Coast. Just trying to get the last bit before I move back to Texas.
Hey, oh, you're moving back. Let's go.
Sir.
Local Joey. That's what we're going to call you. Jojo, how you doing out there?
Yeah.
All right, so good news. That's awesome, Joey. The fact that you're coming back, man. Finally, somebody's listening to that Bowling for Soup song. All right, can I hear an amen? Anyways,
Amen.
I'm drinking Petrus Brune Ale right here. It's mighty weird, actually. It's very sour. I didn't anticipate that, but there it is, Petrus.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And Roan, how you doing, man?
What up, crypto and beer world? So I'm drinking the it's gonna look familiar to you from last show, the Jenny Lake Lager. So I want to welcome you to Distilled Thoughts. What the hell is Distilled Thoughts? Let me tell you something. This is serious shit right here. It's about to go down. You know the arena back in Rome? That's how it is here, okay? There's gonna be crying, there's gonna be laughing, and there's gonna be yelling, there's gonna be shouting, okay? And even better, there's gonna be no ripples, but there may be some nipples. So let me be the first one to open up a can of intelligent conversation. Let's get this shit going.
Amen to that. And real quick, before we start with our shenanigans, apparently, we're going to go ahead and throw on our disclaimer. Sorry, I know, boring. The information provided on the show does not constitute investment advice, financial advice, trading advice, or any other sort of advice. Crypto Brew Show is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Conduct your own due diligence and consult your financial advisor before making any investment decisions. Hashtag NAFAMU, not a financial advisor. My own opinions that is relevant to the show. And of course, hashtag BYOB. We did. Did you? Now, our topic of the week is cryptocurrency mass adoption. It is a big question, a big old question mark in the cryptocurrency space, especially for people that have been the early adopters. What happens when the majority of people get into cryptocurrency and the barriers to mass adoption? That's what we're talking about. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Our top 5 burdens to mass adoption. What are those burdens, you ask? Well, you know what? Let me show you. Top 5 burdens: education, regulation, institutional money, ease of use, and stability. So let's go ahead and start off with the first one, and we'll go ahead and start with Jojo. Education. Why is that a barrier to entry, and what can change to make it so that it is not?
All right, so I'm sure everybody else out there understands that the education bit to most anything that is widely adopted is the fact that you have to know what you're doing, right? You have to understand exactly where everything is coming from, how everything is going out, and how you are transitioning throughout those entire time frames. And that's what this education bit is all about, right? You had to figure out how to use the banking system when you were a kid, when you first got your first savings account. And for all of you old enough millennials, let me go ahead and put it that way, that know how to balance a checkbook, you had to learn how to do that stuff ahead of time, right? All of those things are major aspects that are just holding us back. And that's the barriers to entry aspect. In education, if people don't know, they just don't know what they don't know. So who's backing me up on this? What else do we have as far as education is concerned?
Dude, I appreciate your community college level input there, but it's so much
Wow.
bigger than that. Okay,
Wow.
look here. If the governments adopt crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, right, whatever it may be, then little Timmy Bobo doesn't need to know how to add 2 plus 2. He just uses Bitcoin because that's how you pay for stuff. You don't have to have an education to use crypto. You have to have an education to build it, but usage, nah, get out of here.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, but seriously, this is what I'm going at with that. It's not about the education aspect of traditional school aspect. It's the education of people understanding how to utilize it. And yeah, okay, we can go ahead and let the government take over. That's how the United States educational system has risen to the top, right?
so
Well, I think
I
what we're
have a
talking about
dream.
is awareness and not education, though. What we're talking about is awareness, right?
that
There's a difference between awareness and education because even fiat has survived without any of those burdens. Like those burdens exist with any kind of fiat today. But what we're talking about is awareness.
right, and that's absolutely right. And again, with what Ron stated, I mean, in the end, you nobody cares about, like, the mass majority doesn't care how cryptocurrency works, how blockchain works. They take their credit card and they go swipe it. Do they really care about how the hell the credit card makes it so that your money goes to that merchant? No, you don't give an F how it happens. You just know that it works. And I think that's going to be, regardless of education, yes, it's very important. So I disagree with you on the whole point about maybe education not being as important for adoption. But I mean, it needs to get easier, and obviously that's going to be one of the points down there at the bottom. Ease of use. It's going to have to get easy to where people don't have to know exactly how it works. They just know it works. Go ahead, Joe.
I mean, just the whole fact behind it is like I completely agree with everyone talking about education in the formal sense of a college education or formal education purposes. This is just understanding and creating knowledge for how a system works. Not necessarily that they have to know how Visa's transactions work in the backside of a credit card, but they still need to understand that when, like back in the day when you were writing a check, you're not supposed to put the comma at the beginning of the check. The period at the end of the beginning of the check, you're supposed to put the comma at the beginning of the check. It's just the whole thing about like the ancient proverb about someone giving someone a check, and it's about, yeah, it's not an ancient proverb. Anyways, you caught me on that, Joe. I see you. But anyways,
Bro.
it's just about that, right? People got to understand, and they don't understand, so people are losing money and they're crying about it, and that's how this crap is going on with Ethereum right now. I need people to know.
Bro. Hold on. I'm talking about the dream I have for the future of crypto is people who spend their whole life not even worried. They never need a comma, right? They don't even know where the hell they're going to get a drink of water from. They're going to be using Bitcoin. That's the dream, right? That's the dream. That's the world I want to live in. Okay.
Joey, go.
So I agree with you guys. Education doesn't mean shit. I agree with Roan. People want to drink the water. They don't need to know that they're drinking water. They just need to know that they're drinking water. It all boils down to... I forgot where I was going with this.
People drinking piss water because they don't know what's in it.
In all fairness, it doesn't help that publicity is given to those who don't understand what they're investing in or how to manage their wallets and X, Y, and Z hacking this or that. That's the only education out there, the only awareness that's out there right now. That doesn't help. So, Joe,
Well,
I get what you're saying. For sure.
If you ask yourself, who knows how to use a debit card? Freaking everybody does. I know Joe made a shout out to the older millennials. I want to make a shout out to the younger millennials who didn't learn how to balance a checkbook during
15,
school.
20 years ago, it was a bad deal to buy a house, because of what everyone was saying. It's the same thing.
Right.
People lose money on the stock exchange.
I think the whole point of adoption is once people get used to using this crypto to buy things, like, and equating that to swiping their debit card. That's what we're going for. That's when we'll be in the prime spot to where we've totally adopted this thing or totally using this thing. That's where we want to get to.
Right, and with that being
That's a
said,
different
again, that goes right into ease of use. Let's go ahead and jump down on over to regulation, being one of the barriers to entry. All obviously, we've been talking a lot about Bitcoin ETF and the SEC and all that. China bans crypto. China unbans crypto. Regulation is a very big barrier to mass adoption. What are your thoughts on regulation happening and just happening to be a barrier on mass adoption? Rowan, what you got on that?
So I mean, regulation is a double-edged sword. One edge being killing bad guys, the other edge kills good guys. So I don't know. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see what the regulation outcomes are. But the beautiful thing about crypto is it can be created in a way that nobody can regulate it, and we can do whatever the hell we want. America.
Fair enough. Jojo, what you got on regulation?
I'll let Joey take it away on this one. It looked like he had something going on there.
All right.
So just to piggyback off what Roan said, can be a double-edged sword for sure. We can see where we're at now with using, fiat currency with the regulation that goes on there. But also, when you think about the beginning stages of regulation in general, hitting on like the whole ICO piece of things, regulation could introduce certain hoops that people starting up would have to jump through. So you hear a lot about these ICO scams that go on. So introducing this regulation could offer extra hoops that these new ICOs have to jump through, so that people who are mass adopting these cryptocurrencies feel more comfortable throwing money into these new ICOs, knowing they have to jump through these extra hoops, extra papers they have to sign, extra things they have to have documented, so that they feel more comfortable that these aren't scams, that they're not just throwing their money into fire, that these new ICOs aren't just going to take their money and run away once they hit $1 million or $25 million. They'll definitely feel more comfortable putting their money into something that they know is going to get built up into something bigger.
Well, I mean, just to piggyback off of that there, Joey, I mean, the fact is, you're right, man. It is going to make it a lot easier for people to put their money in because they know it's going to be in a trusted source. However, that ruins the innovation aspect of a lot of these people out there, right? Say there's one company that like really has this really brilliant idea and they just want to move forward on it, but they can't because now they're jumping through SEC regulations and all this other stuff, and they can't really post their product for sale and like utility and all that good stuff. It just makes it very unappetizing for those new brilliant minds in the market to show us what they've got. And yeah, it really sucks that people are scammers. I hate those people in the world. They can eat shit and die.
Fair enough. And if anyone else has something to say about the regulation part, okay, I see you, Rowan. Go ahead.
Yeah. So look, let's forget the piggybacking. Let's take it to the next level. This is distilled thoughts. I'm gonna human centipede onto Joe, who's human centipede onto Joey. Look, man, regulation is what we have to have for mass adoption, right? But at the same time, like the anarchist side, especially, dude, this is the only time you're gonna hear me refer to myself as a millennial because it is a derogatory term. But us millennials know that we are getting screwed over on a government level. Like the middle class is dying. Everything is corrupt and screwed up. And this is not political. This is just facts, like statistical facts, right? So at the same time, crypto has an opportunity to make those things right. So it's just, I don't know, man.
You reminded me of that thing online where it says millennials are like, I don't like labels. And then you just labeled yourself. So.
But why do you need regulation? Let's really address it. The root of it is regulations needed so that because people just don't have the confidence and they want to make sure, well, where are the lines that I can color within? Because they don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to get their hand slapped. They don't want to look bad. So regulations needed, just like the Buddhists need ugliness to define something that's beautiful. That's really what it is.
You are
Well,
absolutely right. And sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Joe, but that actually goes right into the next topic there of institutional money flowing into the cryptocurrency market. With regulation happening, institutional investors and the big boys out there with all the money are able to, as Angela said, color within the lines and say, okay, I'm in doing exactly what you're telling me to, saying that's legal. So go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I'll take it away on this one too, man. Just the fact of like going off of what Angela just said. I'm sorry, Ron's comment about human centipeding just really threw me off. I didn't know if Joey's face was in my ass or if my face was in his. I don't know. I don't really want to think about that anymore, but I just thought our viewers and listeners out there should understand the plague of imagination that I have going on right now. Anyway, bringing it back to institutional money coming into the market. I like what Angela said. Yes, it really does make sense. However, that is the same system we have now, and that is the financial powers of the world talking. Those are the ones with institutional money. I want a rebalance of wealth. And that's a lot easier said than done. Without getting too far into this, what does anyone else have?
Well, real quick, as far as rebalance of wealth, we have a great graphic here. The adoption curve of blockchain looks like it was brought to us by Adele, Diffusion of Innovations by Everett Rogers, but it has innovators at the 2.5%, early adopters at 13.5%. The graphic shows 2017 was that early adopters section at 13.5%. And then we move on to the early majority, and it's just a curve at 34%. And then we hit our peak, and then the late majority jump into crypto, 34%, and then the super late people at 16%. What are you guys' thoughts on this adoption curve? And do you agree with where it states us in the crypto space as early adopters, or do you think we should be positioned somewhere differently? I'll let you go ahead and start it, Roan.
All right, so a couple things on if you look at that chart again, you see the majority curve. So the only thing about this is because of the different aspects that make up crypto, there's there's actually like currencies, there's utility coins with multiple different technological innovations going, that affect different fields of our economy and our tech. So I think that is going to be specific to the type of coin that you're looking at. Like, I think the currency adoption, I think we're looking at 1 year before we start seeing, Walmart taking crypto, Amazon, etc. But on another note, kind of going into the institutional money. So last episode, we talked about how Coinbase started a political action committee. And, Coinbase is kind of like, it's a everyday name to us in the cryptoverse here in the US. But they will become the facilitator of getting that institutional money pushed into crypto. Like, they are the catalyst to do that. And guess what they're doing? They're taking action. They're making it happen. They just formed a political action committee. So I think the institutional money is a must. It is an absolute must for mass adoption.
Yep, and with that, on the other end of that, it is a big barrier. And once we get the regulations so that institutional money has the green light, then it's a good thing. Moving on to the next slide here, investment in blockchain has already started to gain momentum and is expected to grow at a very high pace in the near future. McKinsey and Company stated, based on the current rate of evolution, we believe blockchain solutions could reach their full potential in the next 5 years. My question to you guys is, I mean, what's your timeline? I mean, as far as personal, obviously hashtag NAFAMU, but Angela, what are your personal thoughts on how quickly blockchain can be adopted in that regard?
There's already companies using it to help with just information security as far as the technology is concerned. So let's just go ahead and say what's out there and that it's valuable. So as far as mass adoption, well, it's already been adopted, so it's already established. I've been hanging out with you guys for like a few months now, like since April, and shit has moved faster than I've even seen on social media, okay? Kim Kardashian's platinum blonde hair didn't move that fast as a trend. I'm just saying. Number one. Number two, my good buddy Mark goes to the Grammys last year, and they already have workshops that are being held. So, not saying that the Grammys is something that's going to establish what's relevant or what's not, but it's kind of the beginning as far as music and culture is concerned. That is what music is. It's a cultural experience. This is no different from that. Be innovative. I said it last time. If you're going to be innovative, innovate. If you're not, do oil and gas. And guess what? You try to destroy the Nissan, or what was it? The first electric car, but now the Nissan Leaf is out, and you've got nothing but hybrids out there. Okay, oil and gas, renewable resources is what it is, and we don't need your paper money.
Fair enough. I like it. That was greatly stated. I love it. Joey, what are your thoughts? How many years for mass adoption? What are you thinking?
I agree with Angela on the part of everybody being aware and be adopted within the next 5 to 10 years. I think it'll be available for any sort of payments and everything. However, massive adoption, I don't think that would be for another 10, maybe at least years. When you're talking about mass adoption, you're talking about the blockchain as a whole, which spans so much further than just making payments on stuff. You're talking about traceability and everything. So, I mean, you're talking about, I know you've heard of like ship chain, WAN chain, and everything. Talking about moving of assets and everything. I think for it to be massively adopted into everything, for everything to be traceable, that'd be at least another 10 years. Has to be.
All right, I like it. And then before we go ahead and move on to Joe, we're just going to go ahead and quickly show you this graphic here from Accenture Research. I mean, they got early adoption as 2016, 2017. They got the growth from 2018 to 2024, and then finally the maturity at 2025. So we're looking at 6, 7, 8 years before we really start taking off and crypto becomes mainstream. And again, I feel like mass adoption can be construed a whole bunch of different ways. But Jojo, what do you take on that?
Well, I think just this graphic that you brought up really kind of pins the point that Joey was anticipating, about 10 years. 2025, close enough. You're talking about 7 or 8 years. It may be something more along the lines of what Joey had, but I know Roan had a comment there. I know you were chomping at the bits, man. What do you got to say about this?
And yeah, so this will actually tie into what we're going to talk about next too. And I know y'all are going to love this analogy. So ease of use. All right, when I think of ease of use, what's awesome is on my MacBook and my phone, the ecosystem there, it's seamless. Every single thing, whether it be music, documents, email, it's seamless between the two. So for ease of use, what we need is the banking system and crypto to have that same seamless interactivity, where when I do one thing in the banks, it goes to crypto and vice versa. That's what we need.
Boo. Apple.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize Steve Jobs came back from the dead.
Oh, dang, man. By the way, iOS is not nearly the only company that makes it seamless to do things. I'm pretty
Only one.
I'm pretty
Only one.
positive we're using one company's resources to seamlessly make the show happen. But you know what?
Google.
it ain't Apple, I'll tell you
Bing,
that.
baby. Bing.
All right. Anyway, yes. So ease of use is a very big. I think honestly, out of all the top 5 there, I think that's the biggest barrier. We're gonna go out, Angela. I'd love to ask you, and we're gonna go ahead and go down the line. Out of these top 5 barriers, what do you think the biggest barrier is to mass adoption from these 5?
Education awareness.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Joey?
I would have to say the ease of use, to be honest. If it's easy to do, people will do it. Like, trust me, people are lazy. They will do the easy stuff.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And Joe, what do you think?
All right, so something really easy to do is put a condom on, but a lot of people don't do that.
Wow, heard.
So I think education's there. We got to tell people how to use that condom.
Fair enough. Ron, what do you think that the biggest barrier to entry is out of those top 5?
Yeah, no, I don't like condoms at all. But I would say regulation.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair
Well,
enough.
neither does Joe, so don't let him trick you.
Wow. Okay. That was TMI. Sorry, viewers. You know more than you probably should. I'm going to go ahead and say ease of use as well. I mean, if we're just dumbing it down to straight up mass adoption, it needs to be easy to use. Again, like I prefaced before, when you use your credit card, do you know exactly what happens, the routing that happens within, the system, where the payment goes and where it comes from? No, you don't. And you don't have to. So sure, education is important, but if you don't have to know how it is used, you just know how to use it. So, I mean, I guess you could draw that fine line between education and ease of use and say, all right, here's a card, because eventually it's going to be the same thing. Here's your crypto card. Swipe it, and it's going to work. You don't have to know how it works. It just is easy to do. So I will go ahead and side with Joey here.
Swipe and pray.
Well, true, as long as you have money in your account, which actually great.
If you don't know what you're doing, you're swiping and praying.
Great analogy there, Joseph, because the last segment there is stability and the volatility in the market. I mean, yes, swipe and pray kind of works for that, because you better hope that crypto doesn't go down like it has been recently. And so with that being said, I'll go ahead and jump to you. As far as stability goes, how do you feel that's a barrier to entry? And I mean, what do you feel about that?
I got 2 words: stable coin.
Oh, I like it. We actually
And
just go ahead.
I've got 2 more after that. Aurora.
Oh my
Down.
Lord. All right. This isn't a promotion. We're not promoted by any means, or all that stuff. But yeah, absolutely. Stability is Joey. I just saw your beard go. I'm all lost.
He was actually putting up a disclaimer for.
I was
yes.
supporting us. I was holding up hashtag
Oh.
AFMO to support your claim that we are not a financial advisor and that you need to make your own opinion. However, I will stem off on stability. Stability is another big part, along with ease of use and education. I'd probably rank it as number 2, honestly, as far as ease of use, stability, and then education. People not only want something that's worth something, they want something that's always going to be worth something. We know gold has always been there. Gold always is freaking worth something. It changes value, but it's always worth something that's around that same value. Somebody wants to hold 20 Bitcoin and they want it to always be worth the same thing 20 Bitcoin is. They want to buy something that's 20 Bitcoin and always want to buy something that is, 20 Bitcoin. They don't want to spend 20 Bitcoin on something and then like 10 years later spend 1 Bitcoin on something because the market's so volatile that it changes that much. So that's kind of my view on stability. Somebody wants to hold something for a while and for it to be able to get them the same amount of something else.
Fair enough. And we're going to go ahead and jump into our last slide here. There's a few quotes from some prominent members in the crypto verse. The one that spoke to me the most is down at the bottom right. No matter what the context, there's a strong possibility that the blockchain will affect your business. The very big question is when. And that spoke a lot to me in the sense of, it's the truth. Blockchain is blowing up, and it doesn't even have to, blockchain doesn't necessarily coincide with cryptocurrency. They're two separate things. Yes, cryptocurrency is built on the blockchain, but you building a blockchain for your business doesn't necessarily have to create a cryptocurrency in that regard. So that one spoke a lot to me. I'm going to go ahead and ask you guys real quick, out of these quotes, which one you like the most, or which one made you think the most. Roan, what are you thinking?
I pretty much agree with all of them. If I had to pick one, I would say probably the one about blockchain could slash the cost of transactions and reshape the economy, because everything you do on an economic level is a transaction. Whether you're bartering, buying, or selling, that's a transaction. And what that quote says is blockchain affects every single one of those transactions, and that's an economy-wide, affectation, and we're in a worldwide economy, more or less. So there you go.
Fair enough. Jojo, out of those comments. Hey, and by the way, I'm coming down the line, so I hope you guys are ready. Jojo, what's your best? What do you think about these quotes? Which one do you like the best?
Well, I think this is just a sheer comment right here. Just the fact there's this one right here. There's a push from the bottom of organizations saying we want to participate. That is the major mission statement that Google had for their initial small business cases with AdWords, right? So Google, I love you. I love you to death. If you're listening, blockchain. Stop scanning books and putting them into computer systems, blockchain.
I'm sure they're well on their way to that. Joey, out of these comments, what one stands out to you the most?
So I'm going to kind of play on two of them, Charlie. One to kind of piggyback off of Joseph. There's a push from the bottom of organizations saying we want to participate. I'd say that's the most relevant, at this point in time. Like Joe said, I love you, Google. And then to 100% combat Roan, I'd say blockchain could slash the cost of a transactions and reach that economy. I'd argue that time is money, and currently it's probably a lot faster for them to just do it with debit card or however they're currently doing it. So that still has a little bit of time to prove itself out.
You are absolutely right, but whether or not you want to be part of the centralized community or the decentralized community, that is up to you at this point. And I suppose that's why we're talking about this in the first place. Angela, what one stands out to you the most?
Okay, so as the token female of the crew, I have to go back in the past and dredge up things that probably don't even matter anymore. So sustainability, stability, 4 words right back at you, New York Stock Exchange. Okay, so here we go. Back to reality. Let's live in the now. It's not a question of if, it's just a question of when.
Amen.
It's already being used. The technology already exists. We want to get real with it. It's no different than any cloud-based, anything that's cloud-based, right? We're already doing that to store information. So that's all I got on that.
I think Angela's favorite one on there is companies are already using blockchain to track items through complex supply chains.
Yep.
So you're absolutely right.
You are absolutely right. All right. Well, that is our Distilled Thoughts episode on mass adoption. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. And just so you know, if you do let us know in the comments down below, we have a giveaway. Woo woo! Giveaway! We are giving away a Celis Brewery Beer Cruzy. Not hashtag. Well, I guess it could be a hashtag Cruzy. Crypto Brew Cruzy, I guess. Yeah. Well, we'll just roll with it. So real quick, I'll go ahead and give you a site here. Celis Brewery. We got a koozie from them. We will go ahead and pass it off to one of you. So comment on what you thought of the video down below. Anything that you want. Good, bad, criticism, whatever. We'll send you.
Tell us who won.
Oh, yeah, there you go. You can
Who
tell
won the
us
Distilled
who won the Distilled Thoughts discussion. Either way, we'll go ahead and send you a random person, a random comment. This fantastic koozie, all for you. So go ahead and leave a comment down below to enter, and we will go ahead and do that. Yes, I'm sorry, the cruzy. Anyway, that is our Crypto Brew Show Distilled Thoughts episode. Last thoughts, Angela?
Have a happy weekend, y'all. It's about to get turned.
Fair enough. And Joey, what are you thinking?
Hashtag crypto, hashtag NAFAMU.
Fair
That's it.
enough. Jojo.
So I gotta say, this has been an awesome Distilled Thoughts section. Find us on every and all podcast, every and all viewing that you possibly can. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all of the things. And always stay bold and keep them cold.
Roan, real quick, what you got?
I'm in Idaho.
Fair enough. And as Joe said, we are on the podcast now. We are on plenty of podcasts. Go to anchor.fm and you will find us on all the things. We are on YouTube. We are on Facebook. We're on Steemit. We're on all the things. Search Crypto Brew Show and you will find what you need. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe below for more show. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Peace.